July the 25th, 2024. Guys, you're looking at the latest updates. 11:30 a.m. Eastern's been out about 30 minutes now. We've got more and more of these models starting to drift back east. See this right here? And we got the Canadian model. It's still drifting down into Mexico according to its projections. I'm not sure if it's been updated this morning or not. The Navy model, the purple line right here, still has it coming in central Texas and looping back up now towards Memphis, a little further south. It was headed up towards St. Louis. More and more of the storms now are the patterns, and the spaghetti models are starting to push back to the east. Notice that. Now this is an hour old, the 11 a.m. advisory. 85 mile per hour Category 1 storm sitting here on the Yucatan. The island has slowed the progress as far as forward speed down to 16 miles per hour. That means as it goes across, it may slow down a little more. But the longer that it stays in the water, the slower it moves, the more that it will strengthen. Now notice where it came ashore, right there. And it was expected to come ashore a little further south. Not much, but a little bit further. And it just saw that wobble. And if we look at some of the Cancun web, they're still getting a pretty good wind, and especially the ones on this side, you can see the wind pulling in behind the hurricane onto land right there. Now, this is the first time we've really been able to catch some of Beryl on this continental satellite. Check it out, coming into the Gulf right now. Things are starting to get real, guys. We don't know exactly where this thing is going to move. I'm going to look at it closer. I just wanted to show you this image. You can see this pattern right here, that's high pressure on behind this storm, and that may have a lot to do with where the storm curves. You notice how all the models are bending up right through here, and this may have something to do with it before it's said and done. We'll have to wait and see. Let's look at a closer satellite image now. You can see it here as the sun rises. Right in this area here is the center of circulation. It's not going to be long before this thing is getting back into the warm waters of the northern Bay of Campeche and the Gulf itself, guys. It already has got the out bands in there, but the center is still on shore, and that's going to slow it down. One thing about it, this tip of Mexico is not as mountainous as it is back in here. So it's kind of flatter, so you've got less to slow the storm down. Watch it come through one more time, and we're going to look at it on the infrared. It's about to get in some of the warmest waters, guys, it's going to see during this storm's lifespan. And this is how it came in last night, right there. There's a very small island off the east coast of the Yucatan right there. I'm not sure the name of that, guys, but it took the brunt. And the storm was projected to go just south of that storm. And that gives you an idea of, we did get a more northerly turn here in the last few frames. See that? Right there, guys. That's going to make a difference overall. Will it continue that hard turn? Because it turned quicker than it should have. What today again will be is a day of watching it as it starts to move offshore, looking at the temperatures of the water and the wind speeds, things like that. It's going to be an interesting couple of days. Now I want to back up just a moment, guys. Sitting here in the Caribbean is that second storm we've watched, and it's trying to get formed, but it keeps running into headwinds and things like that. It just hasn't wrapped up very tightly. We don't know how it's going to react, but we may want to watch this section right here. It looks like it may be going to be pulled north and northeast into the Atlantic, but because of the way this front is set up right there, and they're about to collide. We'll see what happens right here. But all of this area from here back to Africa, we'll be paying attention to it for the rest of this overheated summer. Here's our storm. Starting to see it push north as far as your outer flow right there. These outflow bands. It won't be long, New Orleans. You're going to be starting to see some of these. You're already seeing a little bit of rain right in here. And guys, we had some yesterday, and it was such a blessing. I mean, it was lightning and all, and it was still daylight. We had the dogs inside and everything, but I don't want anything to happen to them with all these trees. But and I did notice that there was not as many fireworks. I read an article this morning that money's really getting tight, which we all know that, but it was much quieter than it normally is. So again, when I was growing up, we had fireworks, we did all those things, but now all we're doing is feeding the Chinese paymaster, or Hunter's Chinese paymaster, for the big guy, billions of dollars a year for these fireworks, guys. Does that make sense when you could be feeding your family with $200 or $300 or $1,000 worth of fireworks, whatever it is? Doesn't make sense. It's really not part of the celebration at all. And the only people that celebrate is the big guy and his crew and the Chinese government. That's who's laughing as people blow their hands off of fear, scare their animals. People die. I think 8,000 people were injured. Think about that. Anyway, now let's take a look at this. This is, again, live camera. This is the Royal Sands Phase 2. There's two close together right here. I think different pools is about the only thing that separates them from almost being identical. But you can see the ocean is still very stirred up, and you can see where it washed along the beach a little higher last night. Got very fortunate. Notice the clearing skies in the top right. And these are the tail ends of the storm as it's pulling ashore. And you can almost tell the exact angle just by looking at the wind spray here. And again, this area was very fortunate. They designed these very well, and it only had to take a strong Cat 2. That was very fortunate, guys. I hope that's as strong as it gets. We're going to be watching the storm. You watch it. Wait for the updates this afternoon, and we'll know more about it as soon as it puts that foot back into the Gulf. It's a heads up. Be safe.